Hey guys, today we're going to talk about a method for wicking the Griffin Rta that's designed specifically for max VG juices. It's for people that smoke mainly max VG that aren't happy with my other wicking technique or don't feel that it's fast enough. So this one will be wicking a little bit faster. And if you try and use it with a lower VG juice, it's going to wick too fast, and you're going to end up getting quite a bit of spit back. But on a max VG juice, I think it works perfectly. So it's very similar to my other wicking tutorial, but there's a couple important differences that we'll get to at the end of the video. So for most of this, it's going to be the exact same as my other tutorial. And this is a vertebrae build in there, stainless steel vertebrae. So this process is identical to any kind of wicking technique right now. It's just putting the wick in the coils. And I already have the wick ring taken off of there, just like I did in my other video. Sorry about that. So I'm going to be wicking it very short, just like my other video. I'm going to kind of use the build deck as a guide while pushing it down. Stick the end of my scissors in this channel here, and it's resting in the channel right up against there, like that. Just kind of resting in there, and then I'm just going to close. So I know you can't really see that with the wick in the way, but that's what I'm doing. I apologize if sometimes it goes out of the camera like that. It's very hard to do this with a camera in between me and what I'm doing. I apologize about the ladybug in the background. We were having mascot tryouts. Ladybug showed up. I kept telling him, don't call us, we'll call you. He won't take the hint. He won't leave. So he can just hang out back there. I can tell you one thing though, he's not getting the job. Okay, so I'm just kind of pruning it down to the right shape. And now I can get my ring and just kind of take a look at what it'll look like. See if I have too much or too little. I always try and straighten the cotton out in the channels. This looks like a perfect amount. So if I can get all this stuff off my hands. So now I'm just screwing the wick ring on. Which can be surprisingly difficult sometimes. Hopefully I'll get lucky so I don't keep you guys waiting. There we go. Now I'm just getting rid of all those little excess hairs that are flying around. So up to now it is exactly the same as my other tutorial as far as the way I have it set up and the amount of wick that I use. All that's the same. So the big difference, if you're going to be using this with Max VG, is that you want to add some more room for air to escape and for juice to get through, so that when you're wicking, it has more of a channel to pass through. So the way that you do that is I use these little crappy tweezers. The only thing I use them for is this right here. And put it down next to the post and just stuff it down. See how I'm kind of making a channel there by stuffing it down. And that leaves a little gap in there. And I do the same all the way around. Now you want to do it right up against the post. If you do it on this side, air hole's right here. So if you do it on this side, juice is going to get in the air. So by doing it on this side next to the post, you're using this whole cotton to block it from getting to the air hole, kind of being a guard between that juice passing through there and being able to get to the air hole. So it won't flood doing this unless you're using low VG juice. I just kind of push the cotton back and stab it down in there a few times until I feel like I have a good little hole. Now I'm going to juice up the wicks. And make one final check of it, and then we're ready to go. It's always good to check it again after you put juice on it because the shape kind of changes and you want to make sure those channels stay open. So I'm adding plenty of juice here, probably more than it needs. Okay, now I'm going to stab this down in there one more time just to make sure those channels are open after I've juiced it up. Okay, one thing you want to be careful of when you turn this to screw it on there, be gentle with it, because if you're real rough with it, it'll it'll close those little gaps you just made. And every time you turn it to refill it, you got to be aware that it might close those gaps. So every now and then, just pop it off of there and check if you notice that the performance is not doing what it was. And that's it. It's just a little tiny difference in the way that I wick it, but it makes a huge difference if you're using Max VG juices. Let's see how it goes. Coils are still really wet from when I overjuiced it. I can literally chain hit it like that until this tank is empty. Just keep going and going and going, and this is Max VG in there, so it'll wick as fast as you need it to. It's not possible to get a dry hit, at least for me, off of this. I just haven't been able to. I've chain hit it until I felt dizzy, just to see if I could get a dry hit, and I couldn't. And the biggest perk about this is the flavor is absolutely incredible. It's the best flavor I've ever gotten out of the Griffin, and being perfectly honest, with the vertebrates in there and the wick the way it is, and the juice that I have, it's better than any dripper I own. It's absolutely crazy. So I hope that you'll give it a try. Leave us a comment if you have any questions. Let us know how we're doing, or if you have any suggestions for what videos we should make. And I hope it works out for you as well as it has for me.